Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of True Crime Time for Thirsty Thursday, June the 19th, 2025. And I'm Woody Everton,
I'm Cindy Overton.
bringing you what you want to hear if you're a true crime news fan. And evidently, a lot of you are. And we love y'all listening, and we appreciate it. Tomorrow or tonight at 12:01 a.m., hashtag Justice for Bradley episode 2 drops. Please listen to it. Everybody said episode 1 made them cry. Episode 2 is going to be the start of pissing you off and why I took this case. That's not the reason I took the case,
No.
but it's the start of the reason why I took the case.
Right.
So y'all go share it everywhere. Do hashtag Justice for Bradley. Very important. Also, the Queens of Digital Marketing drops on Saturday for all lifers. The Patreon convicts get it early, commercial free, early release. Go check it out. Me and Miss Tina and I had a great conversation, and I learned a lot today. Some of the stuff blew my mind. It's pretty crazy, but sex trafficking is real, and it's real victims, real people, right? Just like murder victims and rape victims and everything else. So that being said, let's roll with it. You want to start today, or you want me to?
I want you to.
All right. Well, I'll tell you about something then, and I'll just bring some joy right into your life today. Kenneth Ray Cook. What you know about him?
I don't know anything about him.
Well, let me tell you a little bit then. He's a father from West Virginia. And he is not getting Father of the Year award.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's time for Family Matters. This dirtbag takes being a shitty father to a new level. Only one, no. I had a case that was probably as bad as this or even worse, but this one is bad. He, being from West Virginia, we love West Virginia. It's beautiful. I'll take you there one day. But he sexually abused his daughter for over 10 years. And guess what?
She killed him.
Nope.
Well, because you said he wasn't going to get Father of the Year. I don't know.
It led to her having 3 children.
Oh, gosh.
Right? So Kenneth Ray Cook, who was from Riley County, began sexually assaulting, or we call it rape, his daughter in 2012 when she was 9 years old. 9 years old. You got no fucking TV? Go find another hobby, motherfucker. And continue to rape and abuse her until she was 21 years old. This is all according to court documents. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
No.
So Cook, who's now 44, was first charged with sexual abuse, sexual assault, and child neglect, as well as 3 counts of incest back in April. 2 months later, he was indicted on June the 3rd and now faces 149 total counts of incest. That's the most recent one, the incest, is dated July of 2024. And he's got 152 charges total. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's probably a lot more than 149 times. That's probably the little girl could differentiate. I mean, he's probably doing it every day, but the most clear ones are going to be able. When you investigate a case like this, you're like, okay, can you tell me how many bedrooms are in the house? What bedroom? What was the color of the bedspread? You got to try to get something to differentiate it. Some of them are just like it was every day, every night, but you want to break down the charges, right? Because you want to get a shithead like this, the maximum that you can get. But the 10 years he's raping that baby girl led to the birth of 3 children. And this is according to NBC WVVA. Now, the cops said that the kids were found suffering from neglect. Imagine that. One of the children was discovered in a neglectful condition in August, and that child was 1 year old at the time. Now, the June 3rd indictment was based on the testimony of a deputy with the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office. They're talking about the child neglect. Cook has been behind bar since March, and he's being held on a $500,000 bond. Now, the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office, as well as Cook's attorney, who's Timothy J. LaFon, they're not saying shit about the case, right? So y'all, this is important. This goes to the Queens of Digital Marketing. She talks about today. We talked about foster parents and your kids just to take them and sell them into sex slavery. So if y'all starting to it's starting to really, really, really storm outside. So if you hear that, apologize. We just got to roll with it. But they said if you suspect child abuse, call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD or 1-800-422-4453, or go to www.childhelp.org. And all calls are toll-free and confidential and available 24/7 in more than 170 languages, right? And if you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual abuse, text STRENGTH, STRENGTH, to the crisis text line at 741-741 to be connected to a certified crisis counselor. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, please contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-HOPE or 1-800-656-4673, or go to RAINN.org. Yeah, it's just horrible. It's so sad. They think about those babies,
Right.
and one of them is 1 year old. And this dude, more, I tell you what. I gotta ask. I don't think I've asked about West Virginia. Does West Virginia have the death penalty?
Here's what I found.
Unfortunately, West Virginia does not. Now, let me tell you, Louisiana not only has the death penalty, but it used to be the only crime you could be executed for was aggravated rape. Now they call it something else. They call it like, fuck, I don't even know, it's rape one or something. But aggravated rape with the clause that it had to be a victim that was 12 years or younger, or over 80 years old. Yeah. And only one person ever got sentenced to that. They were for raping babies, and he was out of Jefferson Parish. And I tried like hell to get David Constance that, but they didn't do that. But he got 4 life sentences. Yeah. But this dude's that's entertainment for him. Just rape your daughter, of course, and I'm sure it's gonna come out. Mama's gonna get charged and whatever. And I've had those cases too. They're unfortunate and they're horrible, and they really, really piss Woody Overton off. But that's it. That's all the love I got for you on that fucked up family. It's time for Beast Mode. Oh, you got a Beast Mode coming for us?
Yes, I do, in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yes.
Let me guess what kind of beast. Dog.
No.
Chicken.
It's bigger.
What was it the other day that was? Oh, it was a seagull the other day with the Nazi thing on his head. Bigger than a chicken?
Yes.
And
a dog. Smaller.
Giraffe.
Smaller.
Cow.
Smaller.
Okay, I quit.
Maybe a little bigger. It depends on the kind.
I give up.
It's a horse.
A horse is a horse, of course.
So there was a horse that was hit by an impaired driver. It was like hit and run, like a DWI.
Oh, okay, I was going to say impaired because you could be.
I'm assuming it's called an impaired SUV driver.
Right. So first of all, we're going to North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Got a horse evidently on the road somewhere, and driver hits it with a vehicle.
We had this happen in front of the farmhouse.
No, I had to kill the horse.
Yes. Well, on Saturday, June 14th, around 12 a.m.
Usually when the drunks are out.
The Currituck County Sheriff's Office responded to a call about a collision between a vehicle and a horse.
Nice. You know what? Usually the vehicle is not going to win that.
the mile marker 19 checkpoint, whatever, check
All right.
post. The horse was killed on impact,
I'm out of a car. Must have been hauling ass.
and the driver was 26-year-old Shannon Seamster, the one that struck him. And she was in a Chevy Tahoe. She had to be flying, though.
Yeah, but
to kill it on
if you were in a
impact.
car and you hit a horse, and I had that worked a case like that, it was a mule. The person hit the mule, and the two of them were in a convertible, and it flipped up and landed on them in the convertible. So, I don't know if she was injured or not because I interrupted you and you didn't get that far, but you hit a horse. Horses are not small, unless it's a Shetland pony.
No, this is a horse, but the CCSO, which is the
Sheriff's office,
right, they notified the Carolina Wild Horse Fund, which is a nonprofit, and they posted a tribute to the horse. So I'm assuming it was a wild horse. It was 5 years old, but the woman's the woman that hit it, Shannon, was charged with a DWI and issued a $2,500 secure bond. That's not enough. I mean,
what about the horse? She didn't get charged for the horse.
that's what it's saying.
I guess you can run over a horse in North Carolina and it's okay.
I guess so. So the driver, Shannon, faces a misdemeanor charge and was later released with the Caratuck Detention Center after posting bond. The horse has since been identified as Alexander, which is a 5-year-old stallion.
So it wasn't a wild horse.
And no, I don't know why they
just been the wild horse for a while. Alexandria. That means somebody had enough love for it to name it, and it's 5 years old.
And said it was hit and killed on the beach.
Really? What the fuck?
So the nonprofit Corolla Wild Horse Fund, that nonprofit, it posts photos of horses walking around a local beach in North Carolina, and they shared 3 images of Alexander by the water, and it is posted as a tribute to him. And they said, at this time, we do not have any additional details to share about the nature of the collision or the driver.
Or what she was doing on the beach in her SUV hauling ass at midnight.
And they said that's in the hands of law enforcement, but we want to be extremely careful not to speculate or spread information. What we can say for sure right now is that this is a tremendous loss for the herd and for those of us who are close to these horses and work so hard to protect them.
That's crazy.
So Alex, they called him, was a very special young horse and had a lot of extra help went into keeping him wild and free.
So I guess they do have the wild ones, right? They got the wild ones out west, and the federal government helps in groups like that help maintain the herds and stuff like that. But I guess they got some in North Carolina too. And these people are taking care of them and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's pretty to go to the beach and
there's more to the story.
And then tell it.
So he was part of a critically endangered population. So this horse was special. They're trying to build up whatever breed he is of these wild stallions. He was critical to that. And so the mission of the CWHF is to protect, conserve, and manage the responsibility of this herd. And he was the last of his mother's offspring. And anyway,
hopefully he sired another offspring before she ran him down on the beach. That's just weird. I don't understand that. We don't have any wild horses in Louisiana. So it is what it is. I don't get it. But I don't get it. They got to make restitution. I don't know who. I guess nobody owned the horse. I don't get it. That's a fucked up story, right?
Yeah.
So. one for you, and everybody's going to know this one, and it's been talked about in the I remember every Thursday night when I was in my young 20s, before we went out to the bar, we stayed home and watched Friends and then Seinfeld and drank beer because it was much cheaper to drink at home and then go out. And I mean, who didn't love those shows? They came on back to back.
Yeah.
It was a shit. We were guaranteed going to watch that Thursday night before we went out. Well, everybody knows Matthew Perry is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it was because of dope.
Yeah.
So, and now, we knew some people were in trouble, but now 5 people are facing charges related to his death. And so let me tell you about it and what they might get. So 4 of the 5 defendants have pled guilty to the charges related to Matthew Perry's death.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, right. I never understand this. We'll talk about it in a minute. So everybody, mourns Matthew Perry. So on October 28, 2023, the beloved Friends actor died at 54 years old after an accidental drug overdose. And the autopsy showed he died from the effects of ketamine. And y'all, if you don't know, ketamine is used as a horse tranquilizer. They probably used it on that horse in the last story. In the effects of ketamine, in addition to other contributing factors such as drowning, coronary artery disease, and effects from winephrine, which is a medication used to treat opioid use disorder.
Okay.
Right? So he had a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, well, and the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they do ketamine as like trauma therapy.
Yeah, well.
They go,
whatever. So the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner has closed the investigation back in December 2023, but the Los Angeles Police Department picked it up and they launched a formal investigation in May of 2024 to determine the source of the ketamine, which ultimately led to Perry's death. And in August of 2024, 5 people, including 2 doctors, and Perry's living assistant, and a woman deemed the ketamine queen by the cops, to call that. They all got arrested on charges in connection with Perry's death. Now, they said these defendants cared more about profiting off Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being. This according to U.S. State's Attorney Martin Estrada. The DEA administrator Ann Milgram added, "We allege each of the defendants played a key role in his death by falsely prescribing, selling, or injecting the ketamine that caused Matthew Perry's death." Matthew Perry's journey began with unscrupulous doctors who abused their position of trust because they saw him as a payday, to street dealers who gave him ketamine in unmarked vials. From the doctors to his personal living assistant, here's everything you ever want to know about the 5 people who were arrested. Okay. Jasveen Singha, who United States Attorney Martin Estrada said is referred to as the ketamine queen. Let's see a picture of her. You ever seen a picture of the ketamine queen? If you're on YouTube,
I did see that.
YouTube, you can see her. The ketamine queen. How in the fuck you get that name? But she was one of the first 2 defendants to be named in the case. And the Department of Justice announced in August of 2024 that Singha was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine, 1 count of maintaining a drug-involved premises, 1 count of possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, 1 count of possession with intent to distribute ketamine, and 5 counts of distribution of ketamine. Said drug dealers selling dangerous substances are gambling with other people's lives over greed. This case, along with our many other prosecutions of drug dealers who caused death, send a clear message that we will hold drug dealers accountable for the deaths they caused. So, in the federal indictment, prosecutors allege that Singha operated a stash house in North Hollywood where they say she would store, package, and distribute narcotics. Only dealing to high-end clients and celebrities. So there's the law of supply and demand. She had previously sold ketamine to Cody McLaury in the hours before he died. I don't know who that is.
No, neither.
But Senga is scheduled to go on trial in August, according to the Associated Press, and is the only person charged in Perry's death who has not entered a plea agreement. She has pled not guilty to the charge against her, but if convicted, she will face up to life in prison.
We're good.
Right? That sounds good.
Yeah.
So she's rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Eric Fleming. Eric Fleming was a TV director and former acquaintance of Perry's from Los Angeles, and he pled guilty in August 2024. I'm going to cut this down for you. To one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine, one count of distribution of ketamine, resulting in death. And he admitted it all to court, but he said he got it from Senga. And he said he ultimately distributed over 50 vials of ketamine to Perry's live-in personal assistant, Kenneth Iswasma. And, once Perry was dead, Fleming got a text from Senga that read, delete all our messages. Yeah, nothing says guilty like that. He's facing up to 25 years in prison. So this Kenneth Iwamasa worked as Perry's live-in assistant for 25 years. And she's worked with other celebrities over the years, like Robbie Benson, Angela Bassett, etc. And they said that she conspired with Senga, Fleming, and Placencia to illegally attain ketamine to give it to Perry. In August 2024, it's a he. He pled guilty to one count conspiracy to distribute ketamine causing death. And he readily admits he repeatedly injected Perry with ketamine without medical training, including multiple injections on Perry on the day he died. Right? So, according to his plea agreement, Perry told his assistant, shoot me up with a big one, and to prepare his hot tub. And the Wasma then went to run some errands and found Perry dead, face down in the water when he got back. So he's facing up to 15 years in prison. Now, I don't want to get into these assholes. Effed up professionals. I mean, you think if you're a doctor, you can make a fucking good enough living where you don't have to sell illegal drugs. But Dr. Salvador Placencia, however the fuck you say his name, he was charged with 7 counts of distribution of ketamine and 2 counts of altering and falsifying documents or records related to a federal investigation. And he distributed ketamine to Perry and Awamasa outside the usual course of professional practice and without a legitimate medical purpose on at least 7 occasions during September and October of 2023. Motherfucker, you got a job? You a doctor? How much money can you be making for selling 7 vials of ketamine? $700. But he also sold the ketamine despite being informed at least 1 week earlier that Perry's addiction to the drug was spiraling out of control. What'd you do with that money, sir? Did you go to Sam's Club and urinate on Spam? Let's move on to Dr. Mark Chavez. Now, Dr. Chavez is a San Diego-based physician who faces 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine, and he admits that he sold the drugs to the other doctor.
Oh.
Right? I guess he got it from across the border. But Chavez also obtained additional ketamine to transfer to the other doctor by making false representations to a wholesale ketamine distributor by submitting a fraudulent prescription in the name of a former patient without that patient's knowledge or consent. Motherfuckers, you're a doctor. Go do some real work. You're not making that much money. There's not enough. So, I just don't know. Anyway, he pled guilty, but he's free on a $50,000 bond. He faces up to 10 years in prison. Tag Perry and ketamine everywhere. Evidently, the world needs to know about it. it goes on like Michael Jackson and all that. And I guess if you got enough money, whatever. And like you said last week, it's their choice, and I get that. But if the supply isn't there, I mean, doctors should not do that shit. This bitch that's queen of ketamine, she went to prison. That's so she made her living off that. Doctors, they went to medical school
I know.
for a long time, so you can make a couple $100.
No, for the clout, just for that. I work with Matthew Perry.
What you gonna do? Have a party and say, yeah, you know what? I get Matthew Perry fucked up. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me either. And anything I say is going to sound stupid because it's just emotional. And I don't understand how someone can, like, knowingly watch someone spiral out of control and knowing that he has an addiction to anything, apparently, that and it's just gross negligence.
And I know you're mad, and I know you're upset, and you're about to cry. So let me add to it. Let me make sure that you cry. I'm gonna give an update on the mass shooting in Utah we were talking about on yesterday's episode. About the 8-month-old baby. Anderson and Mahalia Garcia said Sunday was the most heartbreaking night of her lives after the death of their 8-month-old son. Looks like her grandbaby. You can see it on YouTube, y'all. The 8-month-old baby was killed in Sunday's mass shooting in Utah. Has been ID'd as Anderson Garcia Cabrera Jr. And of course, the family says they're devastated over the baby's death, and that's so. That was a quick update on that. And Cindy, yes, I made her cry again today, y'all. Or be a button for that. I don't know. I don't know. So
it's really sad. But the Mom Talk, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives that I've been watching, they go get
I've been doing Justice Talk.
Good.
Hashtag Justice Talk.
Good.
All Bradley's videos.
Awesome. And they go do ketamine as like part of like marriage therapy.
Okay,
and
whoever's prescribing it to them, they need to be in fucking prison.
And they're going to an office doing it. And, Mormons, as you know, they're not supposed to drink, obviously, do drugs, that type of stuff.
Caffeine, anything.
But they can't. And it's so funny. This is not a crime, but they're not allowed to have coffee, but they are all huge soda places. There's a place called Swig up there. But they use all of these roundabout ways of getting what they want. So when they go get Botox, they get laughing gas. And so they go get, they find all of these loopholes to still do, mind altering things, but stay within the church guidelines. It's just crazy to me. But I don't know.
You know what? Since I'm on a roll, it's time for worldwide crime. Y'all, she was almost to the verge of tears, and now I'm about to get them for sure. Going across the pond to England. Well, a man in England is accused of murdering and sexually assaulting the 13-month-old boy he was in the process of adopting. Right? This dude is 36 years old. His name is Jamie Barley, and he's now been charged with murder, manslaughter, assault by penetration of a child, cruelty. That's an actual charge. Assault by penetration of a child. Comma, child cruelty, comma, inflicting grievous bodily harm, comma, and sexual assault of a child. Now, this all happened in the 2023 death of 13-month-old Preston Davy, and this is according to the Crown Prosecution Service. So, this is really going to make you happy. This dude was a former teacher. And he's also charged with taking indecent photographs of a child, distributing indecent photographs of a child, possessing indecent pseudo images of a child, and possessions of extreme pornographic images. Let it keep coming. You ready? So he was in Preston Crown Court on Monday, June 16th. On June 16th, but the baby boys, family members were there also, and it's according to BBC. So John McGowan Fazarkley is 31, who is charged with allowing the death of a child cruelty, and sexual assault, also appeared in court. Probably remember, get it? The case came to light in July 27th, 2023, after the Lancashire police learned that the boy had been transported to the Blackpool Victoria Hospital, where he died soon after. So they got to go check it out, right? Chief Crown Prosecutor Susan Leland of CPS Northwest announced the charges on June the 13th, stating, "The Crown Prosecution Service has authorized the prosecution of 2 men in relation to the death of the 13-month-old boy in Blackpool. The Crown Prosecution Service has worked closely with Lancashire Police following a detailed police investigation to review the available evidence and advise on the appropriate charges. We recognize the profoundly distressing nature of the crimes. However, we remind all concerned that criminal proceedings against these defendants are now active and they have a right to a fair trial."
They don't have a right to
Why the fuck you
shit.
got to warn them on that?
They don't have a right.
But let's check this out. Barley was a teacher at South Shore Academy in the seaside town of Blackpool. When he was a teacher when he did it, and he was a teacher until he got arrested. All right, and that is crazy.
It's not the only thing he's ever done either.
No, fuck no. He's 36 years old. You don't start out 36-year-old raping and murdering and taking pictures and all that of a little baby like that.
No.
So I don't know how it really works in England, but I'm glad they came back and charged him. They got him whatever in the beginning, but they came back and charged him with more. And I'm glad for that. Did I ask, does England have the death penalty?
I don't know.
Does England have the death penalty? Because that motherfucker deserves it.
Here's what I found.
Capital punishment in the UK predates the formation of the UK, having been used in Britain and Ireland from ancient times until the second half of the 20th century. The last executions in the UK were by hanging. It took place in 1964. Then it was suspended in 1965 and finally abolished in 1969. That is a shame, my good friends in England, because I bet you they would take this motherfucker out and give it to him.
Maybe there'll be some prison justice.
Hopefully, right? I don't know. And we might as well just stay one more time. It's time for worldwide crime. You know, there's certain times when you've been married for as long as Cindy and I have, you just know when another's fucking done. And I can tell y'all today, she is done. Meaning that the stories have made her ill. Go look at her face on YouTube and about to cry and blown this way, blown that. She's still about to cry. So, and you know what? So I'm going to just go ahead and bring you more pain, not intentionally, but just because this is what we do here on True Crime Time before we tell these stories.
I know.
And we're going across the pond to Greece. I got a pair of cufflinks from Greece. They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yes.
My daddy left them to me, y'all. My mama said that they were in Greece, and my daddy, he loved to bargain with somebody, and he was bartering back and forth with the guy in the jewelry shop, and the guy, actually, the owner actually chased him down because my dad was like, "I'm not paying that," and chased him down and got him to come back in. He got the cufflinks, and I have them, and it's an old coin. There are 2 old coins, gold coins, and made of cufflinks. But anyway, Greece is pretty cool.
My brain is so
I know
into
you're
crime
I
right
know.
now. When you said the cufflinks, I literally heard handcuffs.
Yeah,
I'm like, and I'm going to my head. You got some handcuffs? Like, I mean,
This is,
I'm not process. I don't.
I understand, and that's why I just told them you're burnt today, and I get that it's going to happen every once in a while. The show must go on, and I'll carry you. I got you.
Thank you.
All right, so you just sit there, and actually, you need to block this out.
Can I just leave the room?
No, it's not the same.
Can I just go la 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 la?
Then you might have trouble editing it.
I'll be quiet.
So, well, we're going to Greece.
Okay.
And one day I'm going to take you to Greece because I've never been. All right. And I want to go. Well, I'll tell you who has been. A 46-year-old American named Rexall Ford. He went to Greece. All right. And he got arrested.
Okay.
You may ask yourself why. Whatever did Mr. Rexall Ford do while he was in Greece to get arrested? Well, Greek authorities arrested the American man on Friday on suspicion of killing a 30-year-old mother and her baby, whose bodies were found by police at a park in Italy. He was taken on an arrest warrant issued in Italy, citing strong evidence of his alleged involvement in the death of the baby girl and her mama, who are also believed to be American. This according Italian news outlets L'Unione Sarda, Messaggero, and Carlo del Seria, and the prosecutors. But the bodies of the mom and the baby were found in Rome's Villa Pamphili Park on Saturday, and both were found naked and without any identification. Investigators in Italy told CBS News that the cause of the woman's death was unknown, but there's a reasonable suspicion that it is a double murder. And that's according to Deputy Prosecutor Giuseppe Cassini. Now, according to the Rome's Chief Prosecutor Francesco Lavoie, the mother was killed several days before the baby. That's fucked up. And was found several hundred meters away. The mother was found under a black bag. They said it's not exactly understandable that someone who was with a woman and a baby girl, once this woman and the girl died, whom he carried in his arms, would then leave the country without calling for help, without seeking assistance. And that's Chief LaVoy said that to CBS News. In itself, that doesn't look good.
No.
He's also calling Captain Obvious. But thankfully, video surveillance. Video surveillance and witnesses showed that the three were spotted together on several occasions, sometimes speaking in English. And at one point, Ford and the woman were seen arguing in the street, and police took down his information, which later led to his arrest.
Oh my!
That's right. Hey, didn't have to. You don't write it down. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm not going to fucking Italy and get into a domestic dispute with you in the street.
No.
I don't want to find out what their jail's like. I don't want to get an invested dispute with you, period.
No.
So, much less see you cry. But police discovered the identities of the woman and her baby and Ford by a good old police work, by cross-referencing footage of them seen at a soup kitchen nearby the Vatican and testimonies of witnesses who were in the park, along with homeless people nearby. Now, authorities were able to track Ford down due to fingerprints left on the bag covering the mother when she was found dead by police. He was found on the Greek island of Skiathos through cell phone data. According to Corriere della Sera, authorities found the baby's pink dress, here come the tears, the baby's pink dress in a trash can nearby where their bodies were found.
Why?
Police estimate that the baby was around 6 to 8 months old. The mother had a tattoo of a skeleton with a surfboard that seemed to have the colors of the Lithuanian flag. And forensic teams also found a total of 40 items at the scene, including a bra and sleeping bag. So they got the warrant for Ford, the asshole, and they forwarded it to the Greek officials, and they got him, and he'll appear in court for an extradition from Greece. And that dude, I got to ask, does Italy since 1889, with the exception of the period between 1926 and 47, which was their rule of fastest, whatever. Nope, don't have it. But they wish they had it on this case. The cops that worked it wish they had it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't get it. You could speculate they were living homeless or traveling, whatever, soup kitchens involve homeless people, whatever. Nobody deserves to be murdered, schmurdered, if you're following me on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I got censored already. I can only imagine that it's not going to take me long to get kicked off of TikTok. But until then, I'm going to continue to bring you hashtag Justice for Bradley stuff because I think it's very, very important and we just got to do it.
Well, people that do what you do have like a backup page. They have a backup page, and so they have people go follow and they post like sometimes on it just so that it's already established.
I'm trying to establish one.
I know.
So I don't know. I think I've probably reigned enough pain for today. What do you think?
I definitely know that you have. No, yeah.
I have probably reigned.
Except that you're not done.
I've probably reigned enough pain for today, and
nothing exceeds like excess.
Okay, I'm gonna go outside the norm, and this is like going back in time, and it's time for worldwide crime. Try to end it on a lighter note. Okay?
Okay.
So there was a dude named Victor Lustig. And he liked the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
He liked it so much, he sold it.
Who'd he sell it to?
Wait. He didn't only sell it one time. He sold it twice.
Okay.
This happened in 1925. And he was a well-established con man who moved to Paris in the summer, and he set his sights on fooling top French scrap metal companies out of their money. How fucking stupid you be? Even in 1925, you own a scrap metal company, and dude's like, "See the Eiffel Tower? I own it. Well, you can go tear it down and give me the scrap. Like, let me tell you." So first he had stationery made for himself. Remember, it was before the internet. Adorned with the official seal of the French government, which made him look as though he had the official government job. And on the stationery, he crafted letters to several large names in the French scrap metal industry. And he invited them to a meeting with him at the Hotel de Crillon to discuss the future of the iconic French landmark. Now, at the meeting, he tells them, because of engineering faults and costly repairs and political problems that I cannot discuss, the tearing down the Eiffel Tower has become mandatory. So, well, of course, we all know the Eiffel Tower wasn't really going anywhere. But the meeting's attendees were none the wiser, and they got into a competitive bidding process in an effort to be the one to buy the tower. Now, Lustig, he got his money. He received his payment, and they, in return, got dick.
How much money did he get?
He did it at least twice, I'm going to tell you. So he continued to con his way through the world for 10 more years, and ultimately he was caught in 1935 and sentenced to 20 years in Alcatraz, right? And so, but Lustig's cons worked so well, in part because he was so hard to catch. He reportedly had nearly 50 aliases, tons of fake passports, and concocted a lore so complex and confusing that the name he was officially logged in on Alcatraz was Robert V. Miller. But it wasn't even his real name, but another pseudonym that he used. So,
did he even know his real name?
I'm just thinking about that. I mean, how much money did you think he got? And this was by somebody named Angelica Martinez. And I just wanted to end today on a more, try to get you to snap you a little bit out of the funk. I'm not even gonna ask you what you cook for dinner. I'm gonna accept that we're having leftovers tonight.
Oh no!
I'm just teasing. But I would like you. All the lifers would like to see you get out of the funk. Later. All the lifers would like to see you get out of the funk. But the look I just got. Okay, I know when it's time for me to punt. And I'm about to punt. And I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cindy Overton.
Yeah, it's the true crime time for this Thirsty Thursday. We're out of here. Holla at y'all later.